The college baseball experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Kalshi. Make real money predicting sports today with Kalshi, and it's available in all 50 states. And you can get a $20 free bet with the promo code SGPN. That is Kalshi, promo code SGPN. And we are back into another episode of the college baseball experience. We're doing a weekend preview for the games of March 13th, 14th, and 15th. Yes, we're previewing the Friday 13th games here on this episode. We'll hit on some of the biggest series at the end here and whatnot. But first, my name is Noah Bieniek, and you can follow me at NoahB77 _ online. And I'm joined today by my special co-host for the baseball show. It's JP Sponseller, former baseball player, Division I for Elon and Cincinnati. JP, what's going on, and how was that trip to Conway to see East Carolina and Coastal Carolina, my friend?
It was awesome. I mean, to be honest, I was just telling you pre-show, I haven't been a ton of places, especially specifically as a fan, but out of some of the places that I have been, I'm putting it as a very close second on my list, fan experience wise, to Duty Noble, which is, in my opinion, pretty hard to top. But no, I mean, the facilities and the stadium and the atmosphere was awesome. And then just the people that I got to meet, great people, very welcoming, and they love their Shots baseball down there. So it's fun to see them get some two very close wins Friday and Saturday, and people were pretty fired up about winning that series down there. So it was a good one. And then for this weekend, I mean, we're officially back in conference play, and we got some pretty good series to kick us off there. So I'm pumped to talk about it and pumped to watch tomorrow.
There we go. I love it. And you can find JP online at JPSpawn _590 or his podcast Head First _pod, where he's joined by two of his really good Cincinnati friends, and they have a bunch of guests doing interviews and whatnot. And Saturday afternoon, or I should say Saturday mornings, you guys do a game day style pick show and giving out some analysis on some of the biggest stories in the game. So it was good stuff. And I love that you've joined the team this year for the college experience. And we're not going to waste any time. We've got 15 games on the slate for Friday night that are all interesting, all pretty much coin flip games, betting odds wise. And we're going to dive right in. We begin with a 3:00 first pitch between the top two teams the last couple of years in the Big South, between High Point and USC Upstate. The Panthers are -105, Upstate -125. And I'm just going to jump out right away and say it, JP. I think this game is priced just a bit wrong. I think the wrong team's favored. When you look at the way that Upstate lost about 30 guys from last year's team, nothing against Coach Kane Sweeney, but it was just a Big South title winning team that lost a chunk of its production, and it has not had the best start to its season that they were kind of hoping for so far in 2026. They've opened up the year 8-10 overall, with a series loss at South Bama, a series loss to Georgia Southern, who's been quite off. They got swept by Texas. High Point just last weekend won that series against Florida, JP. What have you seen from the Panthers and Spartans so far? What's your analysis and possible pick here in this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I'll come out and say it now. I'm definitely on the Panthers. I haven't quite pulled the trigger on whether I'm going to bet it yet, but I'm going to ride the Panthers coming off of this road win in Gainesville, and specifically tomorrow. I mean, they have Wade Walton on the mound, who was the Big South Freshman of the Year last year. He's pitching at a 2.22 ERA right now, and he just went 7 innings and 2 earned runs on the road last weekend. So yeah, I'm willing to ride on the Panthers here. I was expecting I don't think they should be a huge favorite here, but I would expect this price to be probably flipped where it's at right now. So I'm going with the Panthers.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm betting this. This is a lock of mine. We're starting it hot right out the gate. When I looked at this price, I was just kind of licking my lips and couldn't wait to hit record and jump out hot with a bet here. Give me High Point minus 105. I think they should be around a minus 140, minus 150 favorite in this matchup. Chris Torres is the starting pitcher for USC Upstate in this one. He's thrown 17 innings. He does have 19 strikeouts and just 4 walks, but he has a 9 ERA. Opponents have been hitting 338 against him. This High Point offense is stellar. They have some real power hitting against some, they've faced a tough schedule up until this point, and I think once they get into conference play, they are really going to start stroking it. I think it's a really powerful offense, very good bat to ball as well. Coming into the year, I thought it was going to be the best offense in the Big South, and the starting rotation, the way it looked against Florida last week, I mean, come on, minus 105, I think is a bit disrespectful on HPU here. That's a bet for me. Did I sell you enough, JP?
Yeah, I'm in.
All right, let's do it. Real quick, let's play some music. Let's do the triple lock music. There we go. And we will jump into game number 2, which starts just a bit afterwards. 2 teams that I think have their sights set on a regular season title. Maybe not the favorites in the Conference USA, but Missouri State and Liberty are both going off at minus 115 prices here in Lynchburg, Virginia. Missouri State, I think on paper, one of your better offenses in the Conference USA this year. Liberty, I think on paper, one of your better pitching staffs in Conference USA so far this season. And the pitching matchup for us here is Michael Yusupchuk of Missouri State and Ben Blair, both of them TBA, but both of them have been the Friday night starters in all 3 weekends so far up until this point. JP, what's your read on this matchup?
This one's tough, just because exactly like you said, Missouri State's lineup is very attractive to me, but so is Liberty's pitching staff, and specifically Ben Blair. He is pitching at a 2.01 ERA this year. Deepest he's gone is 7 innings against Hofstra. Best team he's faced is West Virginia, and he actually pitched pretty well in that game. He went 4 1/3, ended up giving up 3 earned runs. It's like Liberty at home. Yes, when we talk about these games, being at home definitely matters as far as travel and stuff, but the atmosphere, not as much. I this is a game I'm probably going to stay away from betting wise, but for the sake of the pod, I'm going to go with the Missouri State Bears. I'm a hitter, so I'm going to side with the lineup, and
Yeah, I like it. And opening weekend, they went down to the Teague and stole a road series at Louisiana. These guys have been battle tested on the road in a series like this at 2 tough environments, Louisiana at Ole Miss, and they go 2-4 in those games. They got swept by Ole Miss, but were competitive in all 3. They lost a 1-run Sunday ball game to those Rebels. And Liberty, I think this is a huge test for their offense. I think they're hitting somewhere around 250 batting average wise as a team through 3 weekends up until this point. It's something that I'm not very bullish on yet. I think Ben Blair should be able to keep it a low scoring game along with that bullpen. They were competitive against Dub V and in some other spots up until this point of the season. So I'm not willing to bet against them, but that will be my pick as well. I have the Missouri State Bears right there with you, JP. Shout out to those that are tuning in the chat. We got Matt Grissom from College Baseball Central and the Insiders tuning in. Dylan Nielsen, last year's 11.7 Pick'em contest winner, saying let's win some money. Grips is in on the High Point triple lock. And then OCAP says Bean Flick says hi to Jessica Alba. You're looking live. That's a college basketball experience joke right there. And then we've got Crutch tuning in saying missed the High Point talk, but he likes him at minus 105 as well. So it looks like we've got a unification there on the Panthers up against the Sportsbooks opening line there on High Point. We jump into a a heavy hitting matchup in the ACC where Florida State's minus 160. They travel to Winston-Salem, North Carolina to play Wake Forest, who's plus 124. On the mound for this game for these two teams is the left-hander Wes Mendez for Florida State. He's gone pretty good up until this point this year. And Blake Morningstar for Wake Forest. I believe his ERA is something like a 19 in 3 games during the third inning. Like specifically, if you tunnel vision the third inning, this guy really struggles in that frame. But outside of that, if he's been able to move on throughout the game, he's done all right this year. He's a premier arm who is still kind of being chiseled out, just a big raw ball of clay for that pitching staff over there at Wake Forest to really kind of mold. Last year, he had a 3.87 ERA in 79 innings with 93 strikeouts. This year, he's got 28 Ks, 9 walks in 20 innings with a sub-5 ERA. It's just, can he give him length on Friday night? To one, give them a chance to win on Friday night, but two, set up the pitching staff so where they're not behind the 8 ball later on in the weekend. JP, what kind of read do you have on this one, FSU at Wake Forest?
Yeah, this one's tough because I mean, if you remember watching this series for the past 2 to 3 years, it's been an absolute dogfight, and if I remember correctly, the road team has maybe had a little bit more success. I could be wrong there. But this is a Wake Forest team who lost opening day and then won 15 in a row, and then drop a midweek to Coastal. Just kind of ran into some decent midweek pitching in front of a good environment. And I could see this just being a game where, I mean, Wes Mendez has been lights out for Florida State, and I was really high on this Florida State team preseason. I could just see this being a game where Wake Forest really shows up and comes to play and has a really big offensive game. We know the ball can fly out of the yard there in Wake Forest. With that being said, I am going with the Seminoles. I got to back Wes Mendez in this pitching matchup. I don't think I'm willing to lay the 160 though. I'm going to stay away from this and just enjoy watching it because I do think it's going to be a dogfight of a series.
I agree with your lead analysis here as well. Wes Mendez, sub-1 ERA, 30 strikeouts, 7 walks in 21.2 innings. But the Florida State really only tested themselves out of conference in the first 3 weekends. In that Arlington weekend, and Mendez faced Michigan, who I don't know how good their offense is going to be yet this year. They've been a little bit more surprising to me on the positive side than the negative side, but my expectations were not very high for them. So it was maybe a little bit easy for them to do that, but still. So that's my hesitation with the Seminoles on that minus 160 price with you too, JP. And to help you out there on that poll, Wake Forest has actually won 2 of 3 in 3 straight years against Florida State. 2023, they won 2 of 3 at Tallahassee, games 1 and game 2. And then in 2024, they won game 1 and game 2 against Florida State in Winston-Salem. Then last year on the road at Tallahassee, they won game 2 and game 3. So Tom Walter and the Deacons have had the Seminoles number and Leak Jarrett. So I don't know if that makes any impact on my handicap there, but I've got Florida State winning game 1 with Mendez on the bump. But tough handicap, tough pick because Wake Forest, I could easily say like, hey, off the loss to Coastal Carolina in the midweek, they're going to come pretty motivated to get a game 1 home win against one of the, I think, top contenders in the ACC.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say like I have to pick Florida State just because of what I'm seeing on paper. But then again, like what you just said, them having the Seminoles number for the past 3 years now is definitely enough for me to stay away. Not enough for me to bet Wake Forest, but enough for me to stay away.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick second to promote some of the stuff that we've got going on at SGPN. If you did not know or you're living under a rock, The NCAA basketball tournament begins next week. The bracket will be revealed Sunday night. There's going to be a live reaction show around 7 o'clock, 7:30 p.m. here on the College Basketball Experience. The same YouTube channel. You can find it on podcast platforms as well. And also Bracket Madness is back, and SGPN is teaming up with Splash Sports to give away $5,000 in prizes. It's free to enter. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bracket. That is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bracket. And we also are running a survivor pool this year. $25,000 guaranteed to the winner. If there's a solo winner, if there's a tie at the top, it'll be split among those contestants at the top of the leaderboard. But you can sign up for this $25,000 prize pool in our March Madness Survivor at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survivor. That is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survivor. We are also brought to you by Kalshi. Kalshi is a real money prediction market that is legal in all 50 states. Kalshi has a ton of trading options for your favorite sports, and Kalshi has combos now where you can combine 2 or more predictions to increase your payouts. You can trade anything over there at their platform. New Kalshi customers can get up to $20 when they use the promo code SGPN. That is Kalshi, KALSHI, promo code SGPN. And the College Baseball Experience is also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog has you covered for pick'em for almost every sport, including college baseball. Underdog has just increased their payouts. You can have 2 pick entries with multiple player projections. Now pay up to 3.5x your entry if you pick correctly. And 3 pick entries now pay 6.5x your entry. Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers. Just play $5 and get $50 in bonus funds when you sign up with the promo code TCESGPN. That is TCESGPN. And remember to always let it ride. And we are back here on the College Baseball Experience. Myself, Noah Bieniek, joined alongside JP Sponseller. And we're rolling through 15 of the biggest games on Friday night. Also previewing a couple of the biggest series of the weekend that are kind of coin flips for the 11.7 Pick'em contest at the end of the show. We head down to it's actually Athens, Georgia. Miswrote that on the slide here. But Tennessee at Georgia. The Volunteers are plus 140 against the Bulldogs, who are minus 180 in this spot. The projected starting pitchers that were released today by the Southeastern Conference were Tegan Kuhns for Tennessee and Joey Volchko for Georgia. So far, both of these guys have gone excellently up until this point of the season. I would say that Tennessee has had a few more hiccups, especially on the offensive side of the ball in their non-con matchups than Georgia has. JP is at the exact same read you have. Are you willing to lay a minus 180 price on Georgia? What's your pick for this game?
No, yes, to answer your question, that is my read. I definitely see Georgia has way more reliability offensively. And this Tennessee team just hasn't quite found their footing yet with Josh Elander. I know I've seen a lot. It's a young team, and they just don't have that spark or that swagger, that confidence that you saw with this Tony Vitello teams in the past. That's not to say that they don't have talent, and I really believe in Josh Elander. I think he's going to be a great coach. I don't know. I'm kind of, I guess, hoping for them to come out and kind of make a statement this weekend, or at least have a good start to SEC play. I'm definitely not willing to lay the minus 180. So screw it. For the sake of the show, you can go ahead and play Rocky Top if you got it, because I'm taking the Vols in game 1.
Yeah, I respect it. I respect the pick, going with some value there at the plus money price for Tennessee. And the way I think you can mold that, point of view and that attack is, hey, Georgia, man, in the non-conference didn't want to challenge themselves. They swept Queens, they swept Oakland. The two teams combined are 4-27 on the season. They also swept Samford, and then they lost a game to Wright State in that opening weekend series. Like, we have not seen this team truly get challenged by a quality team to this point that I think Tennessee may be able to present to them, especially on the pitching side. Like, the Volunteers have passed the eye test on the mound, and Tegan Coons up until this point, 23.1 innings, 29 strikeouts, just 4 walks, 309 ERA. But Joey Volchko's kind of matched that with Georgia. He's done really well so far. Competition to be accounted for, though, but 21 innings, 24 strikeouts, 8 walks. And he's got a 3 flat ERA. Opponents are hitting 221 against him. That's something that I want to keep an eye on because earlier in his career, 280 batting average last year, the year before, 256 batting average. When he's lived around the zone, he's gotten hit. He's got plus stuff, but if he tries to nibble, it turns into kind of he walks the village. But if he's living in the zone, he kind of gets hit. So that's my big thing with Volchko. I still want to be patient with this Georgia team. I can acknowledge that they're hitting the crap out of the ball right now and they're pitching it very well, but the schedule's not been super tough. Like, I think Tennessee is going to provide them a good challenge, and this Volunteers team, I think, needs to make an early statement in the SEC in one of these first few weekends here to really kind of change that vibe around. Like you mentioned, it just doesn't feel like a Tennessee team's felt in years past. So my pick in this series, I think that Georgia's going to be able to pull it out, but I think that the Volunteers may steal a game. And specifically, I'm going to eye game 2 for Tennessee with Landon Mack on the bump against Dylan Vigue. So that would be my specific look. Anything else you want to add before we move on from this series and this game?
No, just that I agree with you in the fact that Tennessee has the edge pitching wise, and like you said, I think that as this series moves on, depending on how many bullpen guys are used and kind of how it plays out, and Friday and then Saturday, you can definitely look for the Vol to be very competitive all weekend, I think.
Yeah, we've got Grips and Dylan siding with Georgia -1.5 in this early matchup in game 1 of the opening weekend SEC series here in weekend number 5 in college baseball. The next game, we're going to dip into the ACC for a couple of matchups as Notre Dame and Louisville go off at a coin flip, -115 price. On the mound for the two teams, you got Jack Riddell for the Fighting Irish and Louisville's left-hander Ethan Eberle. Up until this point, man, Louisville's given, it has left a lot to be. I don't even know the saying that I'm trying to. They've left a lot on the table. Just they have not been super impressive so far this season. They do get Zion Rose back for the stretch run, the final 10 weeks of the year. I think that makes a massive difference. I think he was their best position player, maybe sans Lucas Moore, but he's a huge impact to the lineup that hasn't been as vaunted as I think we all thought it could be in the preseason. And the pitching's lacked a little bit too. -115 on both sides. Do you love a team here in this game 1, JP?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I jumped on Louisville right away. I respect Jack Riddell, and I agree with you. I think Louisville had a rocky start, but I mean, they are 12-5 right now on a 5-game heater. Not the worst place in the world. And like you said, they just got Zion Rose back. Tage Davis is hitting the crap out of the ball. I think you're finally going to start to see this lineup fully come together and see what we kind of thought we were going to see in 2026. So Ethan Eberle has also been very good all year long. His ERA is around a 2 or 3. Yeah, 2.61. Hasn't gotten, or yeah, he hasn't gotten into the longest outing he has is 5 2/3. Hasn't shown as much depth as maybe some other guys, but has pitching it really well. And I think I'm looking for the Cards to kind of build some momentum into their season, being at home for their first weekend series in the ACC. So I'm on the Cards in this one.
Yeah, I think that's the right look. I think Riddell gives the Fighting Irish a fighting chance, no pun intended. But I think Louisville, to your point, has figured something out here. competition should be measured. 3 games against Seton Hall, 2 against Marshall. But their last 5 games, this offense has mustered up 59 runs, and that's just not what we've seen through the first 3 weekends. It's to the way you put it, they're on a heater right now. The pitching staff in the midweek gave up quite a few runs, but that Ethan Eberle start against Seton Hall last weekend, just 1 run for those Pirates. On the season, he's gone pretty well with a 2.61 ERA and 20.2 innings, 26 strikeouts, 10 walks compared to Riddell in 23 innings with 33 strikeouts, 5 walks, and a 1.57 ERA. Opponents just hitting 114 against him. I think it's really tough to get on a side in this matchup because I want to see Louisville do it against good competition, and Riddell's about as good as you're going to get right now in the ACC. He's on a roll. So I can't wait to watch this game. Give me Louisville as the pick, but I have very little confidence behind it. Who do you have winning the series here, JP?
I'm also going to go with Louisville. Yeah, I'm riding with two. Like I said, just kind of build some momentum. I think they finally got some more confidence in that lineup, and I'm riding with history here. I know Notre Dame is trending up, but you asked me this matchup for the past 5 years, I'm taking the Cards at home every time.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. Dylan Nielsen says Rose has already hit a bomb and 2 doubles in his 2 games back against Marshall, as he's kind of getting his feet back under him. I would love to do that as I'm kind of shaking the rust off, right?
Yeah. Not bad. Not a bad start.
The other fantastic ACC series that we're going to see this weekend is Miami, Florida. And Miami's at Duke in Durham, North Carolina. I screwed up the price on the slide. Miami's minus 154 and Duke is plus 120. Minus 154 plus 120 for those Blue Devils as they host Miami. Pitching matchup here has not been confirmed by either team so far. It's AJ Siskar I'm projecting for the Hurricanes and Aiden Weaver for Duke. Both of those guys have been the Friday night starter throughout the season so far for both respective teams. On the year, Miami's bullpen's been really leaky, and I think that's the biggest thing I circle in the matchup on Friday. In the matchup for the weekend is they have not been able to stop a nosebleed, and that's hilarious because I wasn't able to stop one before the show either. JP, your thoughts on this game and series?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I haven't really seen a whole lot out of this Duke team that has impressed me all year. And I have seen good things out of Miami. I know you talked about the leaky bullpen, but I also just don't think this is the Duke offense that we saw Chris Pollard the past couple of years. I really liked the only time I've watched Siskar is against Florida, and I really liked his stuff that night. He competed his ass off. By the way, I know our slide is showing plus 114 for Miami, but I did lay I got him at minus 150, and I'm going to jump on them. I think Duke has the potential to squeak out a game here, but I'm definitely rolling with the Canes with Siskar on the mound, and I think they win this series as well.
Yeah, and Miami lost the home series to begin ACC play last weekend against BC. I'm somewhat nervous about this team moving forward. Like Siskar pitched well in that game too. And the 3rd inning was a hiccup, and then they gave up 3 runs in the final 2 frames to lose that game, or to allow BC to go to extras, and then they lost it in the 11th inning. For me with Duke, I do agree with you that in year 1 of Corey Muscara, this team did not challenge themselves in the non-conference. They had a 4-game set with Maine, a 4-game set with Milwaukee, and a 4-game set with Princeton. We're kind of able to cruise along. The offense was not doing a ton of damage, a lot of low-scoring outputs in wins. And then that first weekend against Notre Dame, they give up a 10 spot on Friday. They win game 2. They lose a close game 3. On their home field here at Jack Coombs, hosting Miami, I don't know if it changes. If anything, I think the Canes offense gets right here, and that's going to be my pick in this game. It's going to be my pick for the series. I don't know if I'm lunging towards the Canes to bet on Friday night here either, but I see where you're coming from on that bet, and I wish you luck. Anything you also want to say for the series? Is Miami your pick for the 3-game set as well?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking for them to bounce back in a big way this weekend.
There we go. Dylan Nielsen saying Miami needs this series after dropping last week to Boston College. Uh, Crutch also saying Duke has a weekend loss to Maine for the record. And yeah, it's hard to argue. Hard to argue. Oklahoma State travels down to the nice and sunny Orlando, Florida to play UCF. The Cowboys are actually a minus 125 favorite here against UCF, who's minus 105. The news earlier this week was that Hudson Barrett will be out for a little bit of time for the Pokes. He was their star Friday night guy who kind of came out of nowhere opening weekend throughout the first couple of weekends, pitching super well for the Pokes after kind of rebounding after a couple of straight injury riddled seasons at UCSB. He was fantastic in 2023. He is not pitching this weekend due to injury. Ethan Lund, the left-hander, who's been stellar up until this point of the year so far, will get the Friday night start. He moves up a day for OSU. Lund has been a left-handed pitcher that I'm really have been excited about. Last year, he did not last super long into the season. He had a season-ending injury. This year, his stuff has been nasty. This is a guy who's got 40 strikeouts in 20 innings, a 174 ERA. I think he's a dude and a Friday night guy moving forward. Opponents are just hitting 141 against him. If anything, I'm looking at an under because I like Braden Smith on the bump for UCF quite a bit here too. JP, is that kind of how you're viewing this matchup in this series as well? I think for the series overall, I may favor a healthier, more talented UCF lineup with a solid pitching staff rather than Oklahoma State, who's already kind of been nicked up by injuries in the lineup and on the bump. So UCF for the series, under in game one's my looks, JP.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a super competitive series. I actually, when this opened, just on paper, I'm leaning towards the Pokes in game one, and that'll be my pick for the show. But again, you mentioned it. Lund's first Friday night start of the year. If correct me if I'm wrong, unless they played Thursday, Friday last week, he's moving up a day on the road in what, depending on the weekend, could be a pretty good environment in Orlando.
Yeah.
And I think this is a pretty good team that scuffled against South Florida. That's really Braden Smith's only rough start of the season. I'm staying away from this one for the sake of the show. I'm taking the Pokes, but yeah, I could definitely see the Knights. They had a really, really good start to the Big 12 play last year, and then kind of got banged up a little bit and just honestly wasn't playing as good a baseball towards the end of the year. So I'm maybe looking for them to start out hot once again at home. So I would lean towards them in the series, but tomorrow I would on paper I'm leaning towards the Pokes.
UCF, they're like a really dynamic position player group that's athletic defensively. And Braden Smith does a really good job of just pitching a contact and letting the defense play. He's only got one walk in his 21.2 innings so far this season. I think he's going to give them a chance to win on Friday night. I do kind of favor the Knights to win the series here at home. I'm getting sucked in once again by UCF. I picked against them in the USF series, but against Murray State, they really controlled it throughout.
Mm-hmm.
And Oklahoma State has me a little bit nervous with them already. Like I was rooting for them this year, as healthy as they were coming into the season, and they've already lost 3 really key pieces to that team. So I'm going to be on UCF for the series, the under in this game. And Crutch saying, I have watched zero Oklahoma State baseball so far this year. I know nothing on the Pokes right now. And Dylan saying Oklahoma State is still on the fake record watch. So we move on to the eighth game we're going to talk about today. Oh, and it's these Wildcats. And JP informed me that this price has already gone up a little bit. Alabama travels to Lexington, Kentucky. They're a plus 120 underdog against the Big Blue Nation. Kentucky is minus 154 in this one. On the mound for both teams, Tyler Fay for Alabama, Jackson Jelkin for Kentucky. The news here is that Tyler Bell returned last weekend. He was hitting super well in his limited plate appearances, and then in the midweek started playing the field. I think he's like kind of getting back up to full speed here. Tyler Cerny is off the injury report for UK as well, and Alabama comes in here. I haven't been super impressed with what they've done up until this point so far this season. Alabama in the non-conference dropped a game on Friday to Washington State. They've played a 2-12 Rhode Island team. They went 2-1 in Frisco and then played North Florida and swept them. Like, I think this is my attack on a lot of these SEC series. This team has not played a road series yet. They played the weekend in Frisco in neutral site. I don't think any of those atmospheres are going to be what Kentucky can provide you. They're probably going to give you a 2,500 to a 4,000 attendance crowd on all 3 days, I would assume. And I just think it's going to be a tougher road atmosphere, tougher atmosphere period than they've seen all season long. I love fading SEC teams on the road because all of them do this. There's no knock to Alabama here. None of them really hit the road for a true road series in the beginning of the season. So big time fade for me. I usually parlay like 6 to 7 of the home teams in the opening weekend Friday every single year. I'll be running that back this year. Give me Jackson Jelkin and the Cats, JP. How about you?
Yeah, this price actually opened at minus 130, and I got on it immediately. You said it. Tyler Bell's back. The Wildcats are healthy. Alabama, I think. I mean, I remember when we talked about them in the show. I mean, we had them being very competitive. I don't think that's out of the question. They just haven't impressed me a ton early. Do think it's going to be a really competitive series, but like you said, haven't really been tested on the road yet. Their one time they was at Southern Miss, and seemed like it got to them a little bit. So I'm on the Wildcats, and yeah, dogfight of a series, but give me the home team. Give me the Cats.
I agree. I have Kentucky winning the series. I have Kentucky winning this Friday night game. So far, Fay has gone well. He's gotten touched up a bit. The ERA is at 4.57, but teams are only hitting 2.13 against him so far. Again, competition to be examined for sure. Jackson Jelkin, on the other hand, again, they haven't really challenged themselves in the non-conference either, but he's not walking guys. And that was the biggest question for me with him in that arm slot. The plus stuff is, can he throw strikes? Earlier in the fall, that was kind of the scouting report, is he didn't really live around the zone. But this year he's only got 4 walks and 21 frames. And I love to see that early on. I love to see that Kentucky's getting a little bit healthy here. That's my pick in this game and moving forward. Crutch saying that is Noah's Kentucky Wildcats to everyone. Grips is home atmosphere in baseball, college, even a big plus. English is the home atmosphere in college baseball a bigger plus than
I was going to
the
say, I
team
don't think
being at
it's
home?
your English. I think this comment is drunk.
Yes, I value home atmospheres in all college sports. I think it's super tough to win on the road in general. And that goes for a multitude of factors that, kind of parlay into that reasoning. Obviously, the travel, not sleeping in your own bed, but crowd atmosphere, not being familiar with the nooks and crannies of ballparks, hitting first rather than second. there's a couple of different factors too. I think that gets cooked into that. Crutch Bet says this was a pick 'em at open minus 115 each way. And then there's Grips saying, sure, he messed up on speaking there quite a bit there. JP, you're the one that played D1 baseball. What was your biggest hurdle, I guess, on a road trip versus playing at home?
Yeah, I mean, obviously some fan bases and some atmospheres are way better than others, as far as like being on the field and it affecting you. But exactly what you said. I mean, sometimes we talked about some people just seeing the ball better in some parks, and you're definitely most comfortable at home. And it's always just like good vibes rolling into the ballpark when you're at home. You're sleeping in your own bed. Everyone's rolling in early for BP, and I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just more of a
You've got your buddies in the
relaxed.
student section.
Yeah, it's more of a relaxed vibe than being on the road. I don't know. You got to meet downstairs for breakfast in the morning and got meetings, and I don't know. It's just, but yeah, it definitely has. There's a few different angles to it, but as far as actual atmosphere, I think it kind of depends on where you're playing.
Yeah, to your point too, like you added, like you just see the ball a little bit better at home. The batter's eye, like it takes a little bit of adjusting to, I'm sure, for some road teams possibly.
That
And then
sometimes, like I know you hear it in the MLB sometimes, but sometimes mounds are different height
yeah,
too. So
mound height.
like it
Yes.
is crazy. I mean, like sometimes it looks like it's coming off a mountain, and then other times if you get a short guy on a low mound, it looks like the ball's just taking off on you. So yeah, there's a few different angles.
Hey, my name is Jared. Adding some input here too. He says, as someone played college baseball and NAI right here too, my friend, NAI Bandits. He says, traveling in work vans or buses, sleeping in hotels, eating crap food on the road always impacted our play, not to mention the extracurriculars at night. So, the one thing I'm not nervous about with the SEC teams on the road specifically, they're eating as good as possible. Like I've seen this go like anywhere that we've been, like behind the scenes, they've got catering food like right after the game in the in the clubhouse. So
Yeah, they'll be just fine.
yeah. Well, they had much better per diem than we did, I think, is how I would phrase that.
Yeah, yeah.
And shit, I mean, their per diem's not used on food. They're already getting it taken care of. So speaking of the SEC series, let's talk about LSU and Vanderbilt. And I don't think vibes are super high right now with either one of these teams. LSU's just not playing their best ball lately, whereas Vanderbilt's kind of one, not looked as great outside of the first 2 weekends of play. Two, they're struggling a little bit with injuries. I don't know what that injury update is right now with Vandy. Um, but yeah, so just setting the table there right off the bat. LSU Vanderbilt on the mound is Cason Evans for the Tigers, Connor Fennell for the Commodores. Both of these guys we've seen a bunch up until this point of the season. Fennell has been there, done that in the league. I don't remember if Vandy played LSU last year, but even still, it's almost a brand new LSU lineup outside of their outfield that returned 3 starters. But Fennell, if it's your first time seeing him, it is a really different look coming from, like a 5'11", 160 pounder, lower arm slot with crazy ride up into the zone at just 90 miles an hour. It's tough to hit. Like just seeing it in person, the fade on the fastball with the rise is really unique across all levels of baseball. So I don't know how you simulate that going into games like these. And Vandy at a plus 110 price at home. Again, LSU has not been on the road up until this point of the college baseball season. And they have lost 4 of their last 6 games. And not been on the road. I take that back. They played a midweek road game at Louisiana and they lost that game. So the point still stands. Like first road series on the road, they've already dropped one of those. They're not in their best form. I like Vanderbilt to win on Friday, and that gives them a great chance to win the series. I don't know if I can get bold on that because I know this Vandy pitching staff is quite banged up. JP, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, this one, I know some money came in on LSU. I know it opened closer to a pick 'em. I really like Connor Fennell. I really like the way he looked against TCU. I mean, last year I loved Kason Evans out of the
Yeah,
bullpen. I mean, he showed unbelievable stuff, and he just hasn't quite found his footing as that Friday night starter. Hasn't been bad, very serviceable, but just hasn't shown like the lights out stuff that he did out of the bullpen. Um, yeah, I'm kind of with. I mean, no, I'm gonna side with LSU, and I'm gonna side with Jay Johnson to get these guys to kind of like, hey, it's finally time to wake up, and it's SEC play. I'm gonna side with LSU, but I'm definitely staying away from this one probably all weekend. I thought Vandy looked pretty damn good that opening weekend, and then has been skidding late, and then LSU has just been kind of up and down. You know it's in there though, and you know it could come out at any point in time. So I'm probably gonna stay away and just watch this one. But for the show, give me the defending champs and give me the powerhouse.
all right. I think that's our first disagreement on the show. So there we go. Making steps forward in progress there. And Dylan said, never thought LSU baseball could be in a foxhole spot, but are they? He's asking foxhole spot. Very much a moneyline Mac phrase there. And losing 4 of their last 6, losing the home series to Sacramento State, like that's one of the qualifiers. Like losing a bad home game where you're probably favored. And the the phrase for per se, like yeah, that's a foxhole spot for LSU in this one, no doubt, no doubt.
I'd
Um,
also say though, like what I mean, what are we considering a foxhole spot? Like to be a top 8 national seed, or like to
Well,
win
just
the
like
national
you got your ass
championship,
kicked in the
or
previous game. Now you're in a foxhole spot. You like
right.
need to have a bounce back or whatever.
I guess what I'm saying is I wouldn't say quite yet. I mean, when you look at history, if you win what 18 to 19 games, you probably host a regional. So yeah, not yet, but
Yeah, it's weekend number 1 in SEC is what you're saying. There's 10 weekends to go here.
yeah, we still got a lot of ball left, but it's definitely a wake up type of weekend. That's for sure.
All right. Before we move on this weekend number 5 preview and picks preview for March 13th, Friday the 13th. Let me tell you about No Vig, because the college baseball experience is brought to you by No Vig. They are America's #1 sports prediction market. With No Vig, you are getting the best prices across all sports markets. Download the No Vig app today and get $50 when you spend just $5 if you use the promo code SGPN. Get in on the action today with No Vig, promo code SGPN. And Rhythm is your official data tool for dominating the madness of college hoops. The AI bracket generator is now open. Generate up to 3 NCAA tournament brackets backed by AI models. Then unlock model backed predictions for every game from the first 4 through the finals. Rhythm works really well with Kalshi too. Looking to go premium? Use the promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off your first month. Download Rhythm and use the promo code SGPN. Lastly, we have Merch Madness going on right now. You can get 15% off all orders over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Use the promo code March. We've got a bunch of college baseball experience gear over there, college basketball gear for March Madness. I don't know if it would land now prior to first tip in the NCAA tournament on Tuesday, Thursday, maybe a full week turnaround. But we've got a bunch of cool stuff over there. I highly encourage you guys to go over there and check it out with one of our biggest discounts we've offered in the last calendar year. Promo code MARCH at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store for 15% off. And we are back here on the college baseball experience. Myself, Noah Bieniek, joined alongside JP Sponseller. We're jumping into the final stretch of baseball games that we're going to talk about on this opening weekend in the SEC as Mississippi State hits the road to play in Fayetteville against these Arkansas Razorbacks. The Hogs are minus 105 as the home team up against the Bulldogs, who are minus 125. The pitching matchup goes as follows. Ryan McPherson for the Bulldogs, and for Arkansas is Gabe Gackle. For me, it's also pretty simple with this one as well. I know Mississippi State's looked super impressive, but Arkansas just split their last 4 games at home to Stetson. That Friday through Monday series was not the greatest last look that the Hogs give you. Now it's opening weekend in the SEC. This building's going to be sold out. There's going to be thousands of fans here to watch good baseball against Mississippi State with all the hype that they have coming into the season here. And I mean, this is an SEC road team in Mississippi State who has not played a weekend road series, but in their first true road game at Southern Miss, they dropped it 7-6. I'm expecting a lot of the same. This Arkansas team was automatic at home in big games in the SEC last year. Give me the Hogs in this one very simply because, 1, they're a slight dog. 2, they're at home. JP, can you add any more analysis to that other than home dog in the SEC on opening weekend?
Yeah, because I'm actually on the other side of this one. I know we've talked about this Gabe Gackle situation, lights out of the pen, kind of similar to Case and Evans and last year. And what are his numbers this year? I know
he's gone all right.
Bad,
he's got a 2.61 ERA and 20
okay.
innings with 27 strikeouts, just 6 walks.
So definitely better, but still kind of testing him, waiting to see how he responds on a big Friday night start. This place is going to be absolutely rocking. Sold out crowd, like you said, no doubt, all weekend long.
Yeah.
Ryan McPherson has been lights out, and I think this team has been, I guess they've both played those road weekends in Texas where they both had a lot of fans travel, neutral sites. But yeah, I may be betting with my heart a little bit more than my brain on this one, but I'm going with the Dogs tomorrow. It honestly scares me how not confident the Arkansas fan base is right now. The amount of times I've seen everyone say that they're going to get swept and they're ranked too high scares me. But yeah, I love what Coach O'Connor's doing in Starkville right now. And I know it's all social media stuff, but the clips and the media and what the message that I feel like we're getting that's being preached to the team and the way they're responding to it. I think they're going to be ready to go this weekend.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna battle there with that one for sure. Cause I respect everything that Mississippi State's doing over there. I think O'Connor's building something that will be long lasting, and I think he's gonna have a lot of success in Starkville. That being said, like on the road, I think it's going to be a tough challenge. I believe in Gackle, and I believe in the bullpen depth that this team at Arkansas has. It's all been about early on here hitting. They have not been able to get a couple of clutch hits to secure these series and games that they've been kind of flirting with. I would say competition that inferior competition to them so far. So. I think with the heightened expectations of this series and, that mindset going into it, like big ball games here, we'll see if they're able to come up. And I am not betting this game because I acknowledge that they are kind of a little cold at the plate, but I think it's their series to lose. Anything you want else?
No, I think just like what you said, that's what's doing it for me on Mississippi State right now is even in the loss against Southern Miss and even in the loss against UCLA, just the timely hitting and the 2-out hitting and the clutch hitting of this team has been I mean, it's been there so far this year, and it hasn't been for Arkansas. And in the wise words of my guy Lounge Dog down in Starkville, he said, "Two out hitting is the key to life," and that's what
Yeah.
wins these SEC series. And I've seen more of it from Mississippi State so far.
Great point, and I got no rebuttal. Like, I even walked into that handicap with my own too. So it's like, yeah, I can totally see that being the difference maker in a game or the series. Speaking of some hot offenses, Kansas State heads to Houston, Texas to play these Cougars. The Wildcats are minus 140. Houston in this matchup is plus 110. And James Guyette on the mound for K State, whereas Houston's got the big German and Paul Schmitz for UH there going on Friday. So far this season, Schmitz, he had a great start opening weekend, has kind of fallen apart recently. He's only tallied 14 innings on the season with a 7.71 ERA compared to Guyette so far this season. He's gone all right as well with a 4.50 ERA in 22 innings, 28 strikeouts, and 6 walks. But it's really the offense of K State that moves the needle for me in this matchup. Minus 140 is a cheap price for as well as they've been hitting so far. That's my look in this one. I haven't bet it yet, mainly because I was still prepping for this show and getting everything together. I haven't even looked at the rest of the slate and all the pitchers and whatnot. But JP, I kind of like Kansas State. I could get there with a bet. How about you?
I lean towards K State. I think this one could end up looking like a Big 12 football game with the offense that we see. I'm probably going to stay away, maybe look at an over, just depending on what we get for a Friday night price. Staying away just in the sense of I do like K-State, but anytime that you think it's an offensive game, it could truly be a coin flip in the 8th or 9th. So I'm going to stay away. I did, when I looked at this preview, though, I am potentially, depending on how Friday night plays out, I'm going to look to grab Houston on Saturday. Just looking at the pitching matchup, they got Kendall Hoffman going, who's thrown 23 and 2/3 with a 1.9 ERA, and K-State is throwing out Tanner Duke, who's only thrown 14 innings with a 5 ERA. So think you could see a mismatch there, but again, it all depends on kind of how Friday plays out, and if you expect it to be an offensive matchup, it's going to depend on which bullpen pieces are used there. So I think that is my look on this weekend.
Yeah, I agree with the look. It should be a high scoring series like most Big 12 series kind of are. Kansas State top 30 in WRC plus as an offense, hitting over 300. Houston, not bad in their own right, just slightly trailing in most stat categories that you look. Comparing that offense, D. Kennedy's been off to a blistering hot start for K State so far this season. That's going to be my pick in this one. We've got next up on the list of games another SEC series here where the team on the road has not played a road series, not played a road game, I don't believe, in Texas A&M's case. They hit the road to Norman, Oklahoma to play these Sooners who have looked very good on the mound. Oklahoma and Texas A&M are going off at a minus 115 coin flip here. I disagree with that price. Oklahoma, up until this point, they've dropped 2 games, one midweek to Arizona State where they got blitzed out the gate and Cole Klecker started on the mound. The other one was a Sunday where they only tallied 1 run. We haven't seen that much from this team all year. The offense has been quite good for them. Texas A&M has not played on the road yet this season. I don't know how vaunted of a road atmosphere Oklahoma is going to provide you. They're one of the few SC, ballparks that doesn't get a crazy fan base coming to every single game, but it's the SEC home opener. It's something that I do think they promote pretty well, and I would expect, 3,000 to 5,000 fans here at the ballpark that's newly renovated as well. Give me Oklahoma. I'm locking this one up. Cameron Johnson on the mound for these Sooners. He's gone, super well up until this point of the season. Like, I kind of doubted him out the gate because we had not seen him, succeed at the college level so far. But opening weekend, he looked fantastic in his matchup. And so far, 2.11 ERA in 21 innings, 32 strikeouts, just 5 walks. Like I'm buying all the stock I can get in this weekend rotation from Oklahoma. They've got 3 guys that are sub 3 ERA. I think it's a tough challenge for Texas A&M this weekend. I'm betting Oklahoma on Friday night, JP.
Yeah, I think it's a very tough challenge for the Aggies, and I know they're 15-1 right now. Only lost to UCLA. Haven't played phenomenal competition outside that weekend, but I mean, I do think it's safe to say that Michael Early taking the reins back over this offense, it seems like they got that swagger back that they were kind of missing last year, right? Like the offense is clicking. Caden Sorrell's going backside, pull side. He's hitting balls all over the place.
Yeah.
It's enough for me to stay away. But dude, I loved what I saw out of Cam Johnson weekend 1. That's the only time I've watched him, but the stuff's there. He's a competitor, and the Sooners are at home. The staff's been lights out all year. I think, I mean, like you said, if A&M was going up against maybe a Georgia, who's more of an offensive team, I'd lean towards taking them in the series. But the way Oklahoma's been pitching it, and then just last year you saw the A&M bullpen was just a little shaky. And what I saw out of the Oklahoma offense is they don't have like any 1 or 2 guys that to me is really, really going to stick out, but they do a phenomenal job of just getting the barrel on the ball and kind of passing the stick and passing the baton from one guy to another. And I like what I've seen out of that offense early. So I don't think I'm going to bet it, but give me the Sooners at home on a Friday.
All right. I like a lot of what you said there on the offense. Like they just find ways to manufacture runs in a multitude of ways. They've actually hit for a little bit of power too. I think they got like 18 or 19 home runs through the first couple of weekends this year too.
It just seemed like in Globe Life, I mean, I know they had an unbelievable weekend, but it was just like nobody was trying to do too much. Like it was a bunt single, a gap shot, a homer. Like they were just all having consistently like very good at bats. And I think that could kind of pay dividends to maybe grind out and get deep into that A&M bullpen later on in the weekend.
I'm going to play my lock music for this OU pick here. The Sooners and Skip Johnson start the SEC play 1-0, and I have them winning the series too. Next up here, game number 13 that we're talking about today is Arizona on the road playing Utah. The news here is that Owen Kramkowski's been demoted. He's had such a rough start to the season so far that he is not getting the nod on Friday night. That goes to Garrett O'Hearn. On the season, Owen Kramkowski has had a 5.60 ERA in 17 innings, 7 walks, 13 runs against, 11 earned with just 24 strikeouts. And opponents are hitting 293 against him. I don't know if it was due to performance or injury. I'm hoping it wasn't injury, and I think it's just performance based, but he is not in the weekend rotation this year or this weekend. Sorry. And Garrett Ahern for Arizona is the guy going, I read the wrong.
I was going to say Garrett Ahern is on
Ahern's
Grand Canyon.
Hold on. I saw Arizona. Are they
going with Smith?
I would feel terrible if I read the wrong name on it and they're actually going with Kramkowski here. Give me 1 second. That was a mistake. So
nothing on Arizona's site.
No, it was it Utah's site? I think it was Utah's site that I saw it. So they may have put the wrong name down because Utah opens up play against Arizona, and then game notes for them. And yeah, they wrote down Garrett Ahern for Arizona. Oh,
no way.
God. They did.
I think Kramkowski's going to go back out there.
So Saturday is JT Guerrero and Sunday is Luke Flata. So Smith Bailey's not listed for Arizona either, but JT Guerrero for
Where are you
JT
seeing that?
Guerrero's Grand Canyon arm too. What in the world?
Yeah, I was
This
gonna
is
say they
Utah's
don't
game
have.
notes, man.
Yeah, they don't have. They don't have the right stuff updated. They're
No,
too worried about their
the
opening weekend at the
midweeks.
new ballpark last weekend. They're still
Okay.
riding that high.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah, I mean, I think either way, like, I don't. Even if Kramkowski's not out there, you have to have Smith Bailey.
yeah,
I mean, there's
that's
no
probably the
shot.
right read. And I can't believe I just went with it. Um
No, it's funny. I
very
literally
funny.
just Google searched Garrett Hearn, Arizona, and like all I was finding was Grand Canyon. I was like, whoa. But no,
No,
to
so
kick you off, my first read on here though was maybe the under. Coulter McAnally has been really good
yeah.
all year, and Arizona's offense has still kind of been teetering and maybe not found the pieces. And either, I mean, if it's Kramkowski or Smith Bailey, either one of them out there, I'd still be potentially looking at an under here, depending on what it's priced. Not enough conviction either way to go with a pick on a side here for me.
Yeah, that's good point from you. Like, even if it's Smith Bailey on Friday, he should go well. If Kramkowski's on the bump, I actually think that I could find a way to get on the Utah money line here with Coulter McAnally on the mound. He's just been so good and so steady, like throughout his college career at Utah. He's tallied 163 career innings, sub 4 ERA this year, 270 ERA in 20 innings, 22 strikeouts. He's given the team a chance to win in almost every start he's had for him. I'm looking at one thing real quick before I jump in on this. So, what I'm doing right now behind the scenes is I headed over to College Baseball Insiders. I'll actually show this real quick and see what they make it out to be because I was scrambled a little bit, had the wrong pitcher. I don't do this for every matchup, but they have a really good tool over here that I'm willing to show off. So let's throw Kramkowski, who's kind of scuffled early on against Utah on the road here against Coulter, and see what their model has this game out to be. So minus 186 on Utah, which kind of matches my gut feel. I'm going to bet it. I'm going to bet Utah here. And Arizona's offense has kind of woken up a little bit. They've been swinging the sticks a lot better the last 2 weekends or so. But I'm still going to go in. Coulter McAnally's been my dog like the last 2 seasons, giving me money line options. Utah's lineup, it's the big question, like whether or not they're going to be able to hit. But I'll take that plus 110 dog there with the Utes. All right, we've got UC Irvine and Fullerton next up, and this is also an interesting series too. Irvine kind of got punched in the mouth at home last weekend against Northridge, and on the mound this Friday is Trevor Hansen. Last Friday he gave him 7.1, just one earned, and the bullpen pissed it away. Gave up 5 runs in the final 2 innings on Friday night to lose that game against the Matadors. They lose the series because of the bullpen a little bit too. And that's something like you don't get a whole lot of breathing room with these West Coast style type of programs that play ball because the offense isn't going to blow anybody away. They're not going to run away with any of these games scoring 10 plus runs in them. So you really got to be sharp on the mound. And if they're dealing with some injuries that I'm unaware about, or they just are in a little bit of a rut on the bump, like it's not a great place to be. Trevor Hansen's been elite to start the season, and Micah Negrete has been great too for Fullerton. On the year, Hansen, who actually is my best arm right now in fantasy college baseball with the group that we've assembled. He's 3-0 on the season, 236 ERA in 26 innings, 35 strikeouts, 6 walks. JP, what do you got on Negrete, and what's your feel on this matchup as Irvine heads to Fullerton for a Big West smackdown?
Yeah, I think this one is interesting. Just kind of like you said, we saw some pretty good things out of Irvine a few weeks ago, and some high expectations. But this is going to be like another just West Coast battle. You saw Fullerton play Stanford really well, and they've been battling a lot. I just haven't. I don't know. Like I've tried to bet them the past couple years, and it just hasn't worked out. It's like growing up in our era of college baseball, or like as a very young kid, like you want Fullerton to be good again. I'm gonna be on the anteaters here. Not gonna be a pick on my card, but give me the anteaters to kind of bounce back a little bit despite being banged up. I think sometimes it just takes a week or two to kind of get your footing and find the pieces when you got some dudes banged up. So think they might have a little bit better feel for things this weekend.
Yeah, and Negrete on the season's been pretty dang, impenetrable at times for Fullerton. Uh, Goes by, I guess, Kai now. Yeah, he's only walked 2 guys in 22 innings so far this year. I mean, he's gonna make the other team beat him, and I mean, this is probably an underlook once again, depending on the number that comes out. Um, I'm gonna take the home dog on Friday in Fullerton too. I think that's my approach here for that one, but I'm not super confident in it whatsoever. Let's go into some of the toughest weekend series to pick of weekend number 5. We begin with a Big 12 series that had a Friday night price of like a minus. What did I see? It was like TCU's like plus 180 on the
Yeah,
road on Friday night against Arizona State. Now, I know it's not super attractive with TCU right now, but I think that price is a little disrespectful to what
I
they've got
thought
going
about it.
on and building over there at Fort Worth. Let's pick the series though. Like I went with Arizona State. I think it's ultimately going to come down to hitting, especially when they get deeper and deeper into the series. And just without Tommy Laporte on Friday night, the pitching staff for TCU is already kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit. They haven't performed super well so far this season, and Arizona State's offense has been smacking the ball around all over the yard. Give me the Sun Devils to win the series, take 2 of 3 at least here. JP, is that how you see it as well?
Yeah, I mean, this one honestly, like to me, I love TCU. I still think they're going to be really good down the stretch, or at least have the capability to. Honestly, I think their ceiling might be higher than Arizona State, in my opinion. But to me, it comes down to if you win Friday, you got a really good chance to win the series. And I think with Carlone on the bump, they're they're in a really good spot to take game one, and then with TCU staff behind the 8 ball and being at home, I'm also going to be on the Sun Devils.
All right. And then game number 2, we kind of talked about the Friday night matchup in this one. It's Missouri State at Liberty. I ultimately sided with the offense coming out on top over the pitching. It's just you got to be so finite, so crisp on the mound in order to pull out a series against a stacked lineup like the Bears have. There's not much breathing room for any mistakes, and I'm just gonna take a little bit wider margin that I think I have with Missouri State here. They've already proven it on the road. They took a series on the opening weekend against Louisiana at the Teague. I think they go into Lynchburg and take the series here too, JP.
Yeah, I'm rolling with the offense. It was my pick for Friday, and then that'll be my pick for the series. I'm with the Bears.
All right. And then we've got Kansas at Texas Tech. Really interesting. Like outside of opening weekend, Kansas has really struggled, especially at the plate. One of the worst teams offensively so far out the gates in the Big 12. I don't think it should mean a whole lot, but still, you're going up against the best offensive team and lineup there with Texas Tech. This team has been ripping balls all over the place so far this season. The Red Raiders, they're a big question mark. They're like bottom 3 in pitching staff right now in the Big 12. I'm questioning that quite a bit early on. I'm a little bit more believer that Kansas will be able to write it out, right the ship offensively than Texas Tech will be able to right the ship pitching wise. So that's why I'm taking the Jayhawks on the road in Lubbock.
Yeah, I'm actually. This one's tough because preseason I'd be going with Kansas all day long. but I'm actually going to go with the Red Raiders here. I don't know if this is the first weekend that they've jumbled around their rotation. Kansas being thrown vaguely or Vogely on Saturday now. So whenever there's a jumble in the rotation, there's always just a little bit of lack of confidence or a weird feeling for everybody. Give me the Red Raiders at home. They've been swinging it, I guess, good enough, better than Kansas, and
very well.
offensive
They've been
parts.
hitting very well.
Yeah, I'm going with the Red Raiders.
And then I think we disagree on the next series here, Mississippi State and Arkansas as well. I'm going with the home team in Arkansas. I know they pitch well. They haven't gotten the clutch hits in recent games, but Mississippi State already 0-1 on the road, their first road series of the year. I don't know if they're battle tested enough to go into the hog pen and win 2 of 3. Give me Arkansas. I mean, this place is going to be on fire. It's SEC opening weekend in Fayetteville. I'll go with the proven commodity here with Arkansas.
Yeah, I might be betting with my heart a little bit more than my head in this one, but I'm fine with that. We talked about the 2 out hitting and the clutch hitting, and I'm going with the Dogs.
All right. And then the next SEC series, I took the home team as well, Texas A&M, Oklahoma. We talked about this one a good bit and why. I mean, I'm so impressed with the weekend rotation up until this point. I think the offense can manufacture runs in a multitude of ways. Texas A&M's not challenged themselves on the road yet either. I'm on Oklahoma, JP.
Yeah, I'm on the Sooners as well for what we talked about. I think just as the series goes on, that lineup's going to be able to grind into this A&M bullpen and pitching staff. I do think this is going to be an absolute dogfight of a series, though. Definitely one I'll have my eyes on. I'm going with the Sooners.
All right. And then we wrap it up with Florida State at Wake Forest. This one was the toughest one for me to pick. I'm 50-50 on both. I love Florida State's squad this year. I think that they haven't, really impressed me, and they've not challenged themselves a ton in the non-conference up until this point. Wake Forest winning those 15 straight games, I was kind of sold that they'll bounce back after a midweek loss to a tough Coastal Carolina team, win this series at home at the couch against a strong ACC foe that I think is a title contender. And yeah, they've won the last 3 weekend series against Florida State the last 3 years. So I'll go with the Deeks here, JP.
Yeah, they've won the last 3 series. Wes Mendez on the mound tomorrow. I think it's a bit of a pitching mismatch against Morningstar. I got the Seminoles in Omaha. I love the chop. I know we're not going to hear it this weekend, but the couch is an absolute launching pad. I'm going with the Seminoles to defeat history a little bit and finally get a series win over the Deacons. And maybe start to get things rolling a little bit. Also, just touching on it, like, I know Wake Forest, anytime you're on a 15-game heater, you're always playing with fire in some close games, and they did just end that win streak. But those Stanford games were a little interesting in some of those late. So I just think if you got some question marks on the mound, Florida State's not the offense, and that's not the ballpark you want to do it in. So I'm going with the Seminoles.
No, that's a great point there. Yeah, and we get to the best bets and the cards. So both of us still building the card a little bit here. Totals, run lines have not come out yet for the weekend and for Friday night's matchups. JP, I'll let you have the honors as I'm still I'm putting together my price on my SEC Friday night parlay at home here. But go ahead with your card, and then I'll get to mine.
Yeah. So my biggest bet right now, my one hammer pick that I have for tomorrow, which I think still might have a losing record for the year. Not by much, but I'm going with a money line parlay of Coastal Carolina on the road against App State. Luke Jones on the mound, coming off a big outing last week, and I feel like they finally got a little bit of momentum going in that clubhouse. And parlayed with the Florida Gators at home against South Carolina. South Carolina hasn't shown us much of anything outside of that Friday night win over Clemson. And if you watch anything tonight, Clemson is either not the best baseball team or just kind of in a rut right now. Haven't looked
batting
great.
practice.
Yeah, not good. So I'm locking that up. I think that came in at around like minus 140, 138, which was a good enough price for me to lay the hammer on. And then getting that out of the way, I will run through these fairly quick since we talked about all of them. I'm going with Louisville at home against Notre Dame. I'm going with Kentucky at home against Alabama. I'm going with Miami on the road against Duke. I'm going with Mississippi State on the road against Arkansas. I'm going with High Point on the road against USC Upstate. And then another parlay that I placed, NC State catching that hot Boston College team. I thought this line was maybe a little low. I think they're around minus 250. I grabbed NC State, and then I know this is going against the grain, but I don't know how much Missouri fits into this narrative. I'm parlaying NC State with Auburn on the road against Missouri. I just like what I've seen out of this Auburn team, and especially Marciano on Fridays. So I thought that was a pretty good matchup. Parlaying those two together, I think that was around minus 130.
Yeah, I'm not including that Missouri pick into the home SEC opening weekend teams on Friday night parlay there. But yeah, I think it's a good card. You've convinced me on. I will say I've added Miami. Have not bet it yet for transparency, but I will after the show. Minus 154. Added that to my notes here. I like High Point a lot, minus 105 to begin the day off at 3 p.m. Eastern against USC Upstate. I went with Oklahoma minus 115 against Texas A&M. I went with Utah plus 110 on the money line there at home against Arizona. And then, so my favorite dance partners, I'll say this first for any money line parlays that you're looking at out there. I think we aligned on a couple of these. So Florida, South Carolina, I know we aligned there. Just last year, if you remember the South Carolina, Florida debacle, it was raining South Carolina on Friday night. Like they wanted to play the game. They only got like an inning or two out of the game. So everybody thought that Florida burned Liam Peterson in that. But then he came back on Sunday so pissed off, threw like 3 innings as like a bullpen, but absolutely dominated. And knowing how much of a competitor Liam Peterson is, and he's still somewhat like, it's very mental. I think that's where he struggles the most. But I think he's going to be pretty focused and just dominating and locking in against the South Carolina program because of what happened last year. I think that's still pretty fresh. So I like him at home against South Carolina in that one as a really good dance partner. Florida minus 315 on DraftKings there. I have Virginia at home against Virginia Tech as my next favorite dance partner. They're minus 660. It's a heavy price, but Virginia Tech is not starting Brett Renfro in this game. They're throwing off on Friday, which is something they did last weekend. They did it because of weather, but I think they're just going to stick Brett Renfro on the schedule rather than moving him back up a day to Friday night. And I think it really puts Virginia Tech behind the 8 ball. They got down big early on Friday night last weekend. I'll take UVA there. And then another dance partner I like for the money line parlays is Texas at home against Ole Miss. Pitchability lefty and Hunter Elliott could go very well. I think both of these teams also have scouting reports on each other. They were both in that same weekend down in Houston just 2 weekends ago. But I'll go with Texas's lineup and at home with that whole philosophy that I've got. The SEC home teams opening weekend on Friday night hit it like an 80% rate. I would have to go back and do the math on it, but I'm a subscriber to the theory. And then the last one, give me UC Santa Barbara on the road at UC Davis as a dance partner. They're minus 660 as well, but it's Jackson, Florida. Like that's one of the aces that I can trust most so far this season. So I don't know if this is how I'm exactly going to structure it here on Friday night, but those 4 and 1 money line parlays plus 154. Typically I like to stick to 2 to 3, but we'll see how it goes tomorrow morning when I get everything out.
Say, I
Here's
like that Texas price here just before we move on. My only thing is like they're 16-0 and like it's baseball. And I just have learned that I don't know, sometimes it's good to catch a team on a streak, but it gets to a point where you maybe should start staying away because
yeah,
you're just bound to, it doesn't matter who you play. Like it could be a midweek. You're just bound to have a terrible baseball game and lose one
yeah, that's
after
fair.
winning 16 in a row.
Yeah, that's fair. I think last year LSU's first loss was, or LSU's second loss because they started like 5-1 or whatever, but then they were 17-1 and then they lost to Omaha, like after their big
Jeez.
hot streaks. So it's like, hey, it happens. Like I can see your point there. Here's the SEC Friday night home opener parlay. It's 37-1. Georgia to beat Tennessee, Florida to beat South Carolina, Kentucky to beat Alabama, Arkansas to beat Mississippi State, Vandy to beat LSU, Oklahoma to beat Texas A&M, and Ole Miss to beat Texas. We are leaving out Missouri because everybody knows why we leave out Missouri. I will get you. So I will take out the Arkansas and Vanderbilt plays because I know that's probably everybody's least favorite picks in that one. JP, anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
I don't think so.
All
Other
right.
than maybe I think that Baylor's priced at like plus 140 or plus 150 at home against West Virginia. I think they may be a little bit more battle tested. I don't know. That one kind of stuck out to me. I know we didn't talk about it, but could be worth a look or maybe an under.
So the SEC Friday night home team opening weekend parlay, if you remove the Vanderbilt game against LSU, if you remove the Arkansas game against Mississippi State, and if you remove the Missouri game against Auburn, it's plus 819. Georgia as a minus 180 home favorite against Tennessee. Florida as a minus 315 favorite at home against South Carolina. Kentucky minus 154 as a home favorite against Alabama. Minus 220 Texas at home against Ole Miss, and minus 115 Oklahoma against Texas A&M. My plus 815. I love it. I love it.
That might be worth a sprinkle from me. I'm with you. I like taking out that Vandy one's just, I mean, you just can't feel good about a pick in that game. I don't care what you say. I just don't think you could feel good about a pick in either side.
Dylan is asking before we get out of here, your biggest, boldest money line upset pick tomorrow. You don't have to commit to the bet whatsoever. I
Right.
like this from him
Yeah.
because I think I have a take that I don't even know if I necessarily agree with it. Michigan money line plus 420 against UCLA on the road there in Los Angeles. I think Michigan has stayed out there for the last week and a half. Like they've done this entire West Coast trip. If not, like they've already been in the LA area. I think they've all got the logistics figured out already. And the other thing is, I believe it's the first time these two have matched up since the 2019 Super Regional, where Michigan went in there and won at Jackie Robinson Stadium. I just love the vibe of them being able to go in there and take one game out of UCLA in this series. JP, your thoughts?
Yeah, I got two. I think one, and just since we never talked about the game, you got a red hot Southern Miss team going into Arkansas State. I know it's not a huge underdog, but as far as money line at plus 175, I think that's worth a shot. They've been playing really well early on in the year, and like I said, sometimes when you have a red hot team, they've been hot for a while now, and baseball happens, and when you're on the road you just can tend to drop a game or two. So I think that's worth a look. And then might be calling me crazy for this one, but Indiana's plus 390 against Oregon.
Yeah.
Oregon's been playing really well. I think that's a little bit more of a hitter's ballpark, or maybe the Ducks have just raked the past few years, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you just haven't seen the Hoosiers offense click very much. They really just haven't clicked as a team. And I mean, who knows? I just think plus 390 as a price in any Big Ten matchup, to be honest, outside of UCLA. Yeah, I mean, shit. I just think they're capable of winning that game, or winning any game in the series.
Yeah, and then the one last one that I'll talk about, I wasn't targeting this for Friday night. We talked about this pre-show. Did you mention Arkansas State against Southern Miss?
Yeah, that was my first one.
Okay.
Not a huge dog, but plus 175. I think that's definitely worth. I don't know if you could, like, if you're like me and you like to place like a 3-team underdog parlay that's like not crazy odds that you can get at around plus 1,000. Like, I think plus 175, some good juice there for Arkansas State.
For me, this is the reason why I'm re-bringing it up then, is like Arkansas State's got the pitching depth to compete the entire weekend. Southern Miss does too. That's not me knocking Southern Miss whatsoever. But again, first road series, USM against Arkansas State, who I think can match them on the bump. Arkansas State's lineup is
not first road series. No. They did go into the Love Shack last week.
Oh, you're right. And they swept them. That was impressive.
And just rolled.
So I will correct myself then and say Arkansas State still is able to possibly take one, because I think they can match them on the mound. Southern Miss's lineup is fantastic so far this season. I don't think the Red Wolves have the sticks to match them there, but I think Saturday, Sunday, if it's a low-scoring matchup, I think they've got a shot.
Well, yeah, it's like, to your point, though, it's like they just had a huge weekend on the road. It's really hard to do it twice. I mean, against two good teams who have been pitching it really well. So, yeah.
There we go. Grissom's saying that he also bet Arkansas State on Friday, and Crutch is with you.
Let's go.
On Arkansas State. So that was his pick against Southern Miss. Dylan's saying Northwestern plus 450 going to take down USC.
Has USC lost yet?
No, they're undefeated still.
I kind of love that, honestly. I kind of love it.
Is that confirmed? Like, we're looking at 40-degree temperature here for USC? Because last weekend, that was the thought process with UCLA in Columbus, but it was 70 degrees.
Yeah. Let me see. My fiance is actually in Chicago right now for the Big Ten tournament, so I should know that. But
oh, there we go.
40 degrees. Tomorrow is a high of 45 with wind. Yeah. That might not be too fun for the Trojans.
Yeah, that's not bad. USC's first road trip last year in the Big Ten was Ann Arbor, and it was 75 and sunny. I was like, why? Like, Michigan could have had a possible chance.
See, Matt's comment. I love this. It's just like, I agree. Baseball. And the wise words of Dana Beers, that's baseball.
There you go. That's baseball. All right. That's going to wrap it up this weekend for the college baseball experience. You can follow JP at, is it JSpawn_590? I'm remember that correctly. Yep. The podcast is headfirst_pod. Catch them Saturday morning as they talk about some of the biggest games, the biggest storylines in the game of college baseball. It's a fantastic pod. I highly encourage everybody tuning in if they're not locked into college basketball on that Saturday afternoon or morning. You can follow me at NoahB77_. You can follow the show at TCE on SGPN. And I just want to announce this and plug this too. We will not have a college baseball show next week, Thursday night. I will probably be hammered in Las Vegas watching the first round March Madness games. It is basically the college basketball's version for me of going to Omaha and having a little bit of fun with some employees that I don't see in person all season long. So Thursday night, we are out next week. Just wanted to plug that before we got out of here. But this is the college baseball experience. You've been I screwed it up, but thanks all for tuning in. We'll talk to you all later. Adios, amigos. Run and shoot.